After Imam Hussein was martyred, the heavens wept upon the plight of the survivors of the battle.
شما مردای اینها رو کشتید. چرا باید خیمه هاشون رو آتیش بزنید؟ چرا بچه‌هایی که کوچیکن و هیچ گناهی ندارن باید توی بیابون به بوته‌های خار پناه برن؟
The barbarism of Yazid's army against innocent women and children is appalling. The battle itself was unjust. Was there any need to adhere to such brutality? He gave his head, but not his hand of allegiance to Yazid. Iran is in a time of reflection and looking back upon history for solving today's questions.
When we look back in our history of mankind, we see few events that has shaped the way we think and the way we have been influenced, our culture have been influenced by these events. One of these events is the event of Karbala.
تاریخ برای انسان‌های آزاده همیشه حرف اول رو داشته.
And as Martin Luther King Jr. once said, there can be no deep disappointment where there is not deep love. This is what love looks like in Iran during Muharram. The Battle of Karbala occurred over 1400 years ago, but even after all these centuries, this historical milestone is remembered with immense enthusiasm. Many of the events associated with the remembrance of Imam Hussein includes mourning congregations, lamentations, lighting candles on Sham-e Ghariban, public gatherings and marching as an expression of grief, and taziyah. Ashura is the climax of the tragedy of Karbala. On this day, Iranians take part in mourning processions known as Dastegardani, lamenting and grieving to the tune of beating drums and chants of Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
The earth trembled, the skies blackened. The earth trembled, the skies blackened. Hussein has been martyred, Hussein has been martyred.
All the men died in the battle. The opponent's troops took the remaining women and children as prisoners and dragged them to Yazid's court.
It was a dark and strange night when Hazrat Zainab and the children of Hussein ibn Ali were dragged to Sham. We light these candles in their name.
All across Iran, candles are lit in memory of the suffering of the survivors.
I think more than it being a religious belief, it's, I don't know, it's more of a culture than it is a religion. The belief that there's something to fight for. There's something still to believe in, you know, with all the war in the world, all the complications, all the people in so much trouble. And people to come here and pray on this one day. And they believe that their prayers will be answered. I truly think that's beautiful.
They may have been alone 1400 years ago, but such sense of solidarity held each year on Sham-e Ghariban proves otherwise.
The city of Sham came out to see who are these prisoners paraded through town. Can it really be the family of Rasul? Can it really be the family of Rasul? Without any veils, the daughters of Hussein.
The 12th of Muharram marks the third day of mourning for the survivors of Karbala. The country grieves along with Hazrat Zainab and the children of Imam Hussein. Men and women participate in public congregations as a display of their devotion to Imam Hussein in a march of remembrance to never forget the sacrifice that he endured.
When they come across Muharram, something inside of them takes them in this direction.
The custom of Nazri is another ritual that commonly takes place in Muharram. This cup of hot chocolate is viewed as being special and holy, as it was prepared in the name of Hussein and humanity. Today's flag bearers pass down the legacy of Muharram, a legacy of defying oppression. One form of mourning during Muharram is a theatrical reenactment of the Battle of Karbala, as well as the suffering and martyrdom of Imam Hussein at the hands of Yazid. These passion plays or performances are called tazia and are performed across the nation at various Husseinias. In a world immersed with injustice and intolerance, it becomes important to seek solace in the great peoples of the past and to learn from their sacrifices in order to build a tomorrow free of violence and corruption. Safura Norouzi for Iran. How history influences our culture today.